Hi, this is Amanda Holmes, co-author of The Ultimate Sales Machine with Chet Holmes. We're going to talk about the 7 musts of marketing, the reason why you are not getting the attention of your prospects like you want to, you're not creating the ROI like you need to. These are going to give helpful secrets that you can take action on immediately.
Here is your daily dose of The Ultimate Sales Machine coming to you from the new edition. Visit ultimatesalesmachine.com to get your copy or multiple copies. I am your host, Amanda Holmes, CEO of Chet Holmes International. What you're about to learn has assisted 250,000 businesses to generate billions of dollars, working faster, better, smarter.
Without further ado, getting to tonight's incredible guest, Amanda Holmes. Now, it's, really interesting how the world operates because I read her dad's book, Chet Holmes, and of course, Amanda now is the CEO of Chet Holmes International. I read the book years ago, and I've recommended it to many dozens of people as being the go-to book. Now, I'm not officially going to say skip college and read the book. I'm not saying that. There's the people that learn and have a learning mindset are the ones that get ahead. In fact, Chet says only 10%, right? I think I got that right, Amanda.
Yeah,
only
absolutely.
10% of the people have a learning mindset. What a shame. How sad. Because if you have a learning mindset, you grow, you scale, you see new opportunities, and you get to new opportunities because you're always listening. So I read that book and have recommended it to many, many people because it's an incredible book. Amanda has assumed the role of CEO at Chet Holmes International and has re-released the book, The Ultimate Sales Machine. Turbocharge your business with relentless focus on 12 key strategies. In fact, I'm deeply honored that a line of mine was included in the new release. I'm so touched and so honored because it was, and then I had the opportunity to be at a Jeffrey Hazlett conference, and Amanda was there. I'm like, whoa, hello, hi. So, and from there, she's been on the show here a couple of times. And from time to time, we just have to have her back on the set because she has so much information to share. And tonight in particular, we want to talk about the new release. And in particular, we're going to zoom in to Chapter 7. So first of all, welcome back to Mind Your Business, Amanda.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. We've assisted hundreds of thousands of businesses worldwide, and I speak to so many of them. And yet, you are in the top 10, I would have to say, as people that actually live and breathe where Ultimate Sales Machine is part of their DNA. So it was an honor to be able to meet you and be able to put you into the book to celebrate you.
Thank you. And by the way, I'll just share with people what's my trick is that I read it and reread it. And of course, I also have the audio books and I listen to it. And that's how you get it into your DNA. If you want to make something part of you, you got to go back at it. Not like, and in fact, Chet shares this in, I think it's Chapter 1 or Chapter 2. He says, I don't want to hear that you heard it already. I want to hear that you implemented it.
Absolutely. I mean, his coined phrase, mastery isn't about doing 4,000 different things. It's about doing 12 things 4,000 times.
Right. And that's such an incredible insight because so many people, it's like one and done. I tried it. Amanda, I tried it. It didn't work. What do you mean? You tried it? Yeah. Let me hear. You tried it once, right? Yeah, I tried it once. Didn't work. Oh, come on. You're wasting my time.
Yep.
Okay. Chapter 7. Now, again, we're talking about the Ultimate Sales Machine. Of course, it's available on Amazon and in bookstores nationwide. The Ultimate Sales Machine, turbocharge your business with relentless focus on 12 key strategies. Each chapter is a book in and of itself, but we're going to zero in on Chapter 7, which is this new 7 musts of marketing. And a special thank you and kudos to Amanda, who have broken out the chapter because when the book was written, the original book was written, what, in 92? 90?
No. It was around 2007. So 15 years ago, my father really built this infrastructure around a time when the internet wasn't really something that we were doing a lot of commerce on. So when I had to rewrite it, I mean, can I give you a bit of market data on this?
Yeah,
what
please,
it was 15 years ago versus today?
Yeah.
So 15 years ago, the average company was on 7 different marketing mediums to promote their business. 7. Today, we're on an average of 13 with 5 social media channels and 3 paid advertising sites. We're doing double the amount of work, and yet for a fraction of the results, because so 15 years ago, my father would talk about there's 40,000 commercial messages hitting your prospect every day. That was before 3.8 billion people decided that they needed to have a voice on social media, right? 3.8 billion social media pages online today. So you are not only competing with all of those, and so now you're competing with all the consumers, but you're also competing with triple the amount of businesses, because just on Facebook alone, right, there were 3 million users promoting their businesses on Facebook using ads 4 years ago. Now there's 9 million. So the amount of, my father called it the clutter factor. The clutter factor has gotten so high. If you're saying, I wonder why my prospects don't hear me. I wonder why I'm not getting responses when I call them, when I do marketing. Why aren't they responding? It's because of the clutter factor. That's why chapter 7 is critical. And also this concept that you really have to know who you're speaking to. Because if you know who you're speaking to, then you have to speak to them specifically, because when you market to everyone, you market to no one. And then where does that message land so that they know, so that you are actually speaking to where they are instead of just speaking it out into the universe, and
Incredible.
your prospects don't spend time there.
So precise. So I mean, you just say it like it is, as your dad would say it. Before we get into the, I don't want to say nitty gritty, but the key elements of marketing, on page 135, there is the issue and the concept of the core story. Now, that is so critical because everything will be driven through that. Can you explain the core story, and how does someone build their core story?
Oh my goodness. Okay. So let's say that you were in a stadium full of your prospects. And if I were to hand you a mic right now, would you be able to say, hello, the title of my talk is blank. Majority of businesses, when given that opportunity, would say something along the lines of, hello, we've been in business for 12 years. This is what we do to support prospects and clients alike. This is the product or service that we do. We're great. So this is all about me, myself, and I. We call it the me-we syndrome, which will only get 3% of the marketplace, right? 3% are in the buying now category. 7% are open to it. The next 30% aren't interested. The next 30% think they're not interested. And the last 30% are definitely not interested. So 90% of that stadium will get up and walk out as soon as you've talked about just you. Right. So what core story is it's a way of educating your prospect. All of the buyer's pyramid, those that aren't thinking about you, think that they're not interested, or definitely not interested. And it educates them into the buying now category using a blend of market data, because our world has gotten so critical because of the internet, right? We don't trust anything. We don't trust the government. We don't trust laws and regulations and big corporations. So the data is something that builds the trust, because you want that logical side of science. And then you want to back it by story, because that's what we remember, right? Our whole history is told in stories so that we will remember it and retain it. So with the blend of the logical and the emotional side, whether you're talking to somebody that's more logical or more emotional, it will lead to you as the only logical conclusion. So that is what core story is telling that story that takes anybody that's listening to you, grabs them with an intriguing story, and leads them to you as the only logical conclusion.
We're speaking with Amanda Holmes, and of course, we're talking about her brand new release, The Ultimate Sales Machine. Turbocharge your business with relentless focus on 12 key strategies. It was originally written by Chet Holmes and is a brand new re-release with Amanda Holmes. And of course, she is the CEO of Chet Holmes International. Mind your business with Yitzchok Saftlas right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, and of course throughout the world on the powerful IR Radio Network. And hello to those watching this episode on YouTube. On YouTube, we're at 710 WOR, Mind Your Business. And by the way, put your thoughts in the comments below. You agree with something Amanda says? Yeah, that's nice. Put a comment. You disagree? It's okay. She can handle it. But she might respond. She might let you know, like, hey, hey, buddy, here's why you're wrong. So it's okay to give us. We love feedback all the time. Okay. before the break, we were talking about Chapter 7 in the new release of The Ultimate Sales Machine. Turbocharge your business with relentless focus on 12 key strategies. And of course, we spoke about the critical concept, which is spoken about in Chapter 4, the core story, building your core story. So, Amanda, before we get into some specific strategies and tactics regarding marketing, perhaps I could just turn to you. What is either the biggest mistake or some of the key mistakes that businesses, unfortunately, continue to make in their marketing?
Yes. So we have the shiny object syndrome so intensely, right? Because we used to have only 7 marketing mediums, and now we have more like 17, 18 marketing mediums. How do we know that the marketing that we're doing is generating an ROI? Well, my father had a 5-point checklist that he put into the original book. We decided to take that and implement it through every marketing medium because we have lost touch with the actual point of marketing. So it's very simple. These 5-point checklists, we call it the 5-prong checklist to determine that your marketing is generating an ROI. Number 1, you want to target your buyers. We had a client out of New Jersey that used to go to this trade show every year, and they spent $1 million on this trade show. But I'm sure many of you spend less on a trade show, but you go every year because you're used to that place.
Right.
We did a audit of their revenue that they generated from that. They spent $1 million and they only generated $60,000 from that trade show. And so we begged the question, are your target buyers even at this trade show? And the answer was no.
Ouch.
So why are we marketing there? So step number 1, target your buyers. Where are they? Where do they spend their time online? Where do they spend their time offline? Who are the influencers that they watch? What are the Facebook groups that they're a part of? What golfing club are they a part of, right? So where exactly are your buyers? Then step number 2 is capture leads. You have to grab their attention and get, whether it's an email, whether it's their phone number, whether it's following them on a social media platform. The second step, if you don't capture their information, then you'll never follow up, right? How many of you meet somebody in an event? 80% of leads that are generated from an event are never followed up on. 80%. So I'll give you a real great tip right now. Are you ready for this, Yitzchok?
Yeah.
So you meet somebody and you go, wow, it was really nice to meet you. Let's do something fun. Okay. So you pull up your phone, you open it up as if you're going to take a selfie and you say, let's do something fun. And you tell them to smile. Okay. Smile, Yitzchok. Okay.
Okay.
And then you say, I'll text it to you. What's your number? And you just hold.
Brilliant.
And you wait for them. You're assuming the sale, right? That you're getting their cell phone. I have done this with leaders of industries. I've done this with 9-figure CEOs, billion-dollar executives in the automotive industry. Time and time again, they go, wow, that was brilliant. And it didn't cost you a dime. That was your first thing that won't cost you a dime that you're about to learn from this. I will give you more in this interview, but we call it the signature selfie. It's so simple, and yet we forget. We give them a business card, and then they never follow up. You never follow up. Same with, and I'm going to make this relevant in web presence. That's one of the 7 musts of marketing, your web presence. How many of you have a website that has no way to capture their email? The number one thing that your website should do is give you the opportunity to continue to go on dates. And what are dates? Dates are, once you get their email, then you send them another email, and then you follow up with another email. And if they're going to buy, they're going to buy regardless. If some that weren't going to buy, but would be willing to give you your email in exchange for something of value, then you're growing your list. Then you get more opportunities to get up to bat, right? So every website should have something engaging. And that's where it ties back to that stadium pitch that I had talked about earlier, that core story. What education are you giving them? You're not just saying, hey, would you like to subscribe so we can tell you every time we want to pitch you something? No, it's something of value. So I'll give you an example. ChetHomes.com. If you go there, you'll see there is a call out that says, would you like to know the biggest thing holding you back from doubling your sales in the next 12 months? Put your name and email in, and we will give you results on what could be holding you back. That gets a conversion rate of, on average, about 13%. And I will tell you that is,
wow.
Right? I saw your face go, wow. Majority of people get about a 1.5% conversion rate from
and
the
even
website.
less, and many less.
Thank you. And majority don't even have an opt-in on their website at all. So you're not even getting up all of the money that you're spending and all the efforts you are making to get people to get to your website. They're not even engaging or giving you anything in return. So you have to make sure that you capture those leads. That is step number 2. Do you want to say anything before I go to 3,
No,
4,
we're
and
good.
5?
Keep on going.
Okay. Number 3 is educate, right? We teach this. Stop selling, start educating. Because of things like Amazon, right? I call it the Death Star of the traditional commission breast salesperson, because 97% of our prospects don't want to be sold to anymore. They want to be educated. Why? Because they can go online today and they can purchase something on Amazon without having to talk to a sales rep. People are buying houses and cars without having to talk to a sales rep. This is absurd for any person that's used to or has been selling for a decade or more. We are flabbergasted by this concept. So what are you doing to educate your prospects so that they see your information and they're willing to raise their hand and say, yes, I want to talk to a salesperson? The average B2B consumer consumes 5 pieces of content before they raise their hand and say, okay, I'd like to talk to a sales rep. So what are you doing to...
Yeah, and sorry to interrupt. So especially in the B2B space, even though it's in the B2C space as well, but in B2B, the fact that people want to deal with an influencer, with a thought leader. I want to see through the education that you're providing that you really, know the industry well. I want to do business with you.
It's amazing because of the ability to publish today and all the mediums that we have, right? So then number 4 is interact a ton and foster community. Because we have the ability to have communities unlike ever before, now communities are selling it. You don't even have to sell it. I've keynoted for the last 3 DLP Capital events. It's the CEO is 37 years old. His name is Don Wenner, and they have $1 billion in real estate. They've hit the Inc. 5000 list 10 years in a row, this 37-year-old. It's absurd. And when I go there and I look at the community, every quarter he has an event and the community sells the prospects on his services. It's not even him doing it. It's magnificent, the ability of what we can do with communities today and interacting a ton. What can you do to interact more? You want to create the number 1 goal of marketing, regardless of if we're marketing on a spaceship to Mars, whether it is an AI bot. The number 1 goal of marketing is to create top of mind awareness. So that as soon as a prospect thinks, oh, I need a product or service like yours, you are the first one that they think of. That is why you are posting on social. That is why you're sending out emails. That is why you're doing ads, because you want to create top of mind awareness. So 4 is interacting a ton and re-engaging. And then number 5, convert to sales. If all of these steps don't lead to a conversion of sales, then you are in the wrong place, marketing to the wrong people and not doing the steps. So if you ever feel like, wow, I don't think I have this marketing medium in the right place or something's off, you can always go to Ultimate Sales Machine, Chapter 7, and you'll see those 5-prong checklists to determine if you are getting the ROI you want from your marketing vehicle.
Wow. My guest this evening is Amanda Holmes. She is the CEO of Chet Holmes International, and we're talking about the new release, the re-release of the Ultimate Sales Machine. Turbocharge your business with relentless focus on 12 key strategies, perhaps the greatest business book ever written. And in particular tonight, we're focusing on the 7 musts of marketing, which of course is chapter 7 in the book. In the previous few segments of tonight's show, we were talking about the core story and the checklist, the important checklist that one must always factor in when they do a marketing campaign. And it was just, when Amanda was sharing it, like some of the things are like, duh, like it's basic, but no, it's violated. I mean, she spoke about a client, obviously no names here, a client that was going to a trade show, investing $1 million in going to a specific trade show, and the return was $60,000. Now, on the balance sheet, that's no good. No, the CPA will show up and go, potch. You can't do that. You can't spend $1 million and make $60,000. That's basic arithmetic right there.
I kept telling them, give me that to spend on ads and I will knock your world out of the park.
So you gotta know if you're reaching your audience. That's like number one. Whether she's going to talk about direct mail soon. Direct mail is not dead, but you got to have a great list. If your list is dead, don't waste your money. Don't waste a penny. Don't waste a dollar. Don't test. Don't waste a penny. It starts with the list. So the previous few segments, we addressed quite a bit. Now we're jumping into the 7 musts of marketing. We're going to go through certain marketing mediums that are used day in and day out. Now, print media, we know, is not as strong as it was when the book was released back in 2007. However, it's not dead by any means. There are, there are certainly major publications that are out there and doing quite well for specific reasons. And so now we're first going to discuss print advertising, because there is an art and a science to it. And if it's okay, ready.
I have to talk about this because I find this fascinating.
Yes.
So it took me 4 years to rewrite my father's book. And one of the things that his methodologies are so timeless. Right. The strategy, because it's based in strategic thinking rather than just being the tactical, here's what you need to do with every tactic. That's why so many people have referred it for the last 15 years, right? It's just word of mouth because people love the book so much. So I took what my father taught about radio ads, and I proved that the same concept, I took the same radio ad copy and I put it into a Facebook ad, and it converted, it decreased our cost per lead by 30%. I went, yes, it's proven that it's just the mediums that change. So what my father taught that he was doing, selling advertising for a well-known billionaire by the name of Charlie Munger, co-chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, that same ads that he was doing in newspapers, I now prove the same thing in Instagram Reels, in LinkedIn posts, right? In LinkedIn messages and YouTube ads. It's the same concepts. I can give it to you an example of this. Would you like that?
Of course.
So my father talks about advertising. So rule number 1, it must be distinctive. And one of the things that makes it distinctive, so when you have an ad that actually has some kind of human element, it's one thing to show, let's say, a mug, and you're selling Yeti as a mug. It's another thing for a person to be holding the mug and look so happy that they're holding the mug. It makes it more human. Mm-hmm. So, and every time that let's say on Instagram Reel, if I'm posting on Instagram, I will make sure that if the product doesn't have, we'll be promoting the book, I will make sure that the book has somebody holding the book. Nice. On an Instagram Reel, or on Instagram, you can also have moving people. So I'll have a moving person dancing next to the book. Why? Because I know that my father proved it from generations prior, that when you have a human element in your ads, it makes them more distinctive and it makes them more relatable. Therefore, people are more engaged. Right. And I've proven it. It's just the tactics that are minor changes. I can go to rule number 2. If you want to say anything about that
please.
Okay, so rule number 2 is you want to capture the attention with a screaming headline. So we go back to that stadium pitch concept. So we had a client that said, humans are going extinct. Learn the 3 things that are making humans go extinct. Now, obviously, that's a pretty head-turning title, and you got to go, what do these people have to say? And then the rule number 3 is you have to get their engagement and allow them to want to read more. So in this education, it led with an education back to those 5 prongs, right? An education around how we don't have the proper nutrition. And then it led into the fact that they sold supplements, right? But what did we do? We grabbed the attention of everyone with a head-turning title. Now today, what I love about these 3 steps, so it must be distinctive, it must have a head-turning title, and then it must have something that educates them in the body copy that makes them want to read further. Mm-hmm. So all 3 of these steps can be proven with every social media post you put out, every email you put out. So for me, in my organization, every time, and we post on social, 1, if not 2 times a day, that is the perfect breeding ground to see. We track how many impressions, how many views, how many likes, how many comments, how many shares, how many saves, how many clicks. And with every single post, as we're tracking them, we can identify this one went soft viral. That is what we need to use now for our ads. So then we'll put money behind the ads, but we'll test it with the content amidst each medium. Right. That is such a great way, because you think, okay, this is going to be distinctive. We think this is going to be a good head-turning title. But now, because we have the platforms to be able to test, it allows us the ability to get more information out more regularly to create that top of mind awareness. And then you actually have to track it, because majority of people just post, they go, oh my gosh, I have to post on social. I guess I will post on Facebook. And then they drudge their way through something. And how many of you actually go back and look? How many people have liked that? Who has liked that? Who has commented? I got a $1 billion client from a Facebook ad where the person was asking about the pricing of some product. And I followed up, and it turned out that he ran a multi-billion-dollar company. He was in his late 60s. I couldn't get him on email. I couldn't get him even when I had his phone number, but I could talk to him on Facebook Messenger. So there's something to be had about following up with those that we just don't think about, or even if you're getting 4 likes here, 5 comments there, and it doesn't seem like it hasn't gone viral, that is a perfect breeding ground to prove the 3 advertising rules, right? Must be distinctive, must have a great head turning title, and the body copy must engage them to want to take a next step.
Now, Amanda, because I know the book, I can't say I know it by heart, but of course I know rule number 4, the call to action. Never forget. Yeah. Let's get
Yeah. If you don't have the call to action, what are you doing? I'm so sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Well, you were testing me there. I know.
Well, it's shocking how many people forget these simple steps, right?
Yeah.
And you see it everywhere. It doesn't matter what kind of ads. Like billboards still just baffle me. And there's still a place for billboards. Sure. Absolutely. But if you don't have a strong call to action, then what is the point? If it's just if it's just the logo, and then you don't. My father used to say it all the time. We'd drive around and he'd look at that ad and he'd be like, what does that even say? What does that even mean?
And I remember at one of his conferences, he said there was a headline in an ad: "Thoughts are things." What's that? What thoughts are things? Come on, who's gonna even? They just turn the page. Thoughts are things.
I was looking at one on a bus, and it was just an epic failure because the call to action was in between the 2 buses, so you couldn't read the call to action. Right. I thought, oh my gosh, if you're going to pay to be on a bus, you don't want the wrap to be covering the call to action. And you have to be really clear if it's an ad, or if making sure that call to action is really simple and easy to find, spell, right? If it's an auditory, if it's something on like here, if we're on the radio, you have to repeat it 3 times or less. That's right. Or 3 times or more to make sure that you hear it.
And it has to be very, very memorable, especially if it's on a billboard. If you're going to have an 800 number, if let's say 1-800-CALL NOW or something like that, fine, that's great. But it's 1-800-492-78. Come on, who's remembering that? And you certainly hope that the guy's not writing it down, or the individual's not writing it down while they're driving. It's like you just got to make sure it's memorable.
And that also speaks to QR codes, right? QR codes, because of COVID, became very popular, and now everybody wants to use a QR code. I find that from my keynotes, when I'm talking in front of 500-600 people, that if I put a text message, text this word to this number, I get usually around a 70% conversion of people that I'm speaking to that I then get their cell phone number. And majority of people that go out there and speak, if you're speaking at a lunch and learn, if you happen to get in front of a trade show group of people and you have no way to capture those leads, right? Step number 2 of the 5-prong, then you're doing something off. You need to make sure that you have that call to action.
Amazing. Okay, we spent time talking about advertising. Perhaps we can get to a favorite topic, because there are strong opinions out there on this: direct mail in 2023. Direct mail.
So now that our digital inbox is so full with mail, right? I think it's something around like 3 billion messages are sent every 60 seconds. It's something absurd. And 60% of that is spam. Now our physical mailbox is not as full. So it's such a great place, right? But you have to know how to do it correctly, because so many people will send a piece of mail. It doesn't look like it's personalized. Personalization that's one of the themes of this next year is, can you personalize, but do it in a way that's automated? So I've seen now where you can have it where it looks like it's handwritten letter. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Why not, right? AI can actually assist to pull things from the internet to say, hey, this is something specific about a person, but then there can be mass messages. So how can we personalize? And
right,
then
and
now,
of course, with VDP, variable data printing, where automatically throughout a direct mail piece, you could put someone's name in throughout VDP, variable data printing. Yeah, and the
ooh, love that.
leading printers are able to do this. It's not just match mailing anymore. It's that throughout the piece on the direct mail card. I think they could even, of course, match if there's an internet picture, pull the picture of the person and put it on the piece. How impactful is that? You get a piece that has your picture on it. Now, of course, you
So
got to make
good.
sure that it's done right, because you put someone else's picture, you toast.
Well, this is an important point. So this
Yeah.
also kind of crosses into chapters 9 and 6 around the Dream 100.
Yeah.
So when my father first came out with this concept, it's the fastest, least expensive way to double sales. And it's the single strategy that has doubled the sales for more companies than any other. What he did was he analyzed 2,200 leads that came up with only the top 167 that purchased 95% of the space. So instead of going after 2,200, he led an intensive effort on just 167. That's where Dream 100 was invented. Now, as I've watched over the last 8 years of being CEO, people deploy Dream 100s. We find that they get so overwhelmed with 100 people that they want to focus on a smaller amount. Who is one person that could completely change your world? If you got that one person. So I love this story. Tom Schaff, who has done consulting with us in the past, he had a client that had 966 clients. And after analyzing it, he realized that 950 of those clients were break-even clients. So he said, I recommend you fire 950 of your clients and you go after these 3 businesses. And they looked at him like, what are you smoking? Like, that is crazy, right? And it was a high 8-figure business. And they led an intensive effort, Dream won. And that one client, they won, and it produced another $100 million into their business. They doubled sales from just one client. So when we talk about direct mail, who are one? I call it the target 12. Who are 12 people that because of the internet today, you have more information about them than you ever have before? If my father had the amount of information that we have today about prospects, I can't even imagine what he'd do. But you can be so specific to a person. So I'll give you an example of this. One of our clients is ClickFunnels. So Russell Brunson's a fairly well-known, multi-New York Times bestselling author. They have 1 million people that follow them. They're very well-known. They went from 0 to 100 million in 4 years using this Dream 100 approach. Now, I decided that I wanted to Dream 100 him. So I knew that he has a love of books. He posts about it all the time, how he loves books. He loves books. And he's been a very big usher for Dream 100 to the next generation. After my father passed, he talks about it a lot in his books and in his content. So I had a book that my father had written that he believed to be the best book he'd ever written, and it was never released. It still hasn't been released. Yeah. It's a little bit promiscuous. And I was telling Russell about it and saying, I don't think I could ever release this because it's a little bit edgy. And Russell said, well, I'd love to read it. Do you think I could read it? Because he was such a fan of my father and Dream 100. And so I had printed just for him a copy of that never published book. Okay. And I sent it to him via mail. And that cost me about $5. And he said it was one of the best gifts he's ever gotten from somebody, right? So there's one thing to gift. There's a lot of people that gift today in direct mail. That's something very expensive. And then they feel that they're obligated to do something back, and it can create some tension. What my father did with Dream 100 is, how can we outsmart the competition? How can we do something clever that shows that we're listening, that we're engaging with them, that we're entertaining? Because everyone else is just saying, hey, I want to pitch you. Hey, I want to pitch you. What if instead, like you're saying, you get a picture of you and somebody you love that can be made on an app today, right? It costs you 99 cents to download the app, and it turns it into a beautiful painting. And then you send that to your prospect, and that costs you maybe $10. And then you have 12 of those people, and you continually follow up. This is critical. Pig-headed discipline and determination, which I love what you say after that. You want to say it?
PhD.
Yes, but then also you're
all right, yeah, but it's not kosher to eat for my community, but the lesson is kosher.
Yes, I love that. So with direct mail is such a great way to leave a lasting impression that they'll always remember. Somebody sent me socks with my face on them. And every time I open my sock drawer, I will continually think of Dennis Yu. I'm like, I will never forget Dennis Yu because he sent me socks with my face. I've never worn them. I think they're crazy a bit. I'm not the type to wear socks with my face on them, but it will always create him as top of mind in my head. So what can you do to be out of the box, but yet send them a box? No pun intended. and show them that you are listening, that you're thinking about them, that you care about them, and that you actually want to provide them value with every step, whether it's advertising, whether it's trade show booths, whether it's direct mail, whether it's emails, whether it's social media posts. You should show that you care.
Wow. Tonight's guest, Amanda Holmes, we're talking about the re-release of her dad's book, one of the greatest business books of all time, The Ultimate Sales Machine. Turbocharge your business with relentless focus on 12 key strategies. Now, 12 key strategies, he has 12 key chapters inside the book. She has, because she wrote it with her dad. Now, each one deserves its own show, if not more. But tonight, specifically, we're talking about the 7 musts of marketing, which happens to be, incidentally, chapter 7 in the book. In the new release, it's broken into 2 parts because she took what her dad wrote in 2007 when it was released, and of course broke that out because now we're in 2023 and there's a lot of new technology out there which has to be factored in to any marketing approach that a company will do in order to be effective. Amanda, we have only around 7-8 minutes left and not enough time to get everything in, but we're going to try, okay?
Yes.
So, okay, now the 7 musts of marketing. In previous segments, we spoke about advertising and direct mail. Number 3 is corporate literature, brochures, promotional pieces, books, ebooks. Let's talk about that, and then we'll get to 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, sorry, I think that's the old one. We changed it into market education. So that can also include books, podcasts, right?
Yes.
Just this general topic of like what we talked about in the first section of how are you stop selling and start educating your prospect? What are you going to do? So I can give you an example that blends that one with personal contact. So we had a client that went out to prospects that had already said no to their services. So they had already gotten a proposal and it was sitting on the table, just kind of gathering dust. So they came back and they said, we've done a study and we've surveyed clients just like yours to find out the 5 biggest things that your farm could lose revenue on. And they were all farmers. They were selling tractor equipment. And instead of saying, hey, I'd like to pitch you, I know the proposal's sitting there on your kitchen table. Can we talk about it, right? Can we talk about the proposal? Can we talk about No, they don't want to talk about the proposal. So you need to come at it from an educational place. So instead, his name is Troy Aberly, he started educating on the 5 ways you could lose revenue on your farm. And every single person said yes to him. Within 6 weeks, he got the appointment and closed them on that proposal that they had said no to. He generated $8.4 million in 6 weeks and then generated another $42 million over 7 months. And it cost him less than $50,000, which is an 83,000% ROI. I calculated that recently because everything that we teach, everything my father taught and that we've carried on, is about working smarter with every move you're making. So sometimes we make it so much harder by thinking, okay, well, in our current sales process, if we just make double the amount of cold calls, or if we send double the amount of emails, we'll be able to double our sales. Well, sometimes you can have the same amount of prospects if you just shift the market education to lead them through an education instead. Your messaging is what really needs work. And maybe it's also the people that you're choosing to focus on are the wrong people. So there's the ultimate sales machine framework that gets missed when we're trying to double our sales. So that's market education. And then I also tied in personal contact because instead of cold calling and saying, hey, I'd love to talk to you about this hat that you'll get when you buy $1 million worth of tractor equipment. Now he's saying, hey, would you like to know what's keeping other people like you up at night? I have put together a report to give it to you. Then they feel like, wow, you've done this for me. That's so wonderful. And you've done something that majority of people won't do, which is look beyond selling, the me, we syndrome, and going into service.
Now, as Amanda pointed out, the truth is, the 7 Muscle Marketing have changed over the years. The listeners of tonight's show were treated to covering some of those subjects as well. We still have 3 we didn't cover yet, and that is, we talked about it here and there, but we just want to have a couple minutes on these 3. Digital presence, which we did touch on. Email and public relations. So maybe we can get public relations out of the way. In fact, there's a great story with your dad on that.
You want to talk about that first?
Yeah,
I love that.
I remember hearing your dad speak about it. He said, public relations is very important because that's earned media. You appeared in Forbes, Fortune, whatever the Wall Street Journal, and that's great. So your dad had come into one meeting and in the boardroom, and the team, the PR team, walked in with like a loose leaf full of all the clippings from where that company was featured. And said, wow, look, we were featured here, there, and there. So he asked like some simple questions like, okay, great. Is it in your brochure? Is it on your website? Did you leverage it? Like, what? So much earned media not leveraged in the sales process and your other marketing mediums? Oh.
One of my favorite places, I learned this from Deborah Bringleson, is the latest press piece you have. Do you have it as the signature in your emails so that everybody sees? Have you seen the latest press piece on me? Or I have taken my press pieces and I pin them to the top of my social media. So for years, I had pinned the story that Inc. told me that went soft viral. It was the second most shared article that day over Elon Musk and Richard Branson, was about how a millennial would take over a company, a multi-million-dollar company. It was like at a time when millennials, we thought there was no hope for us as a generation, that we were just a lost generation that would never make anything of ourselves. And that one millennial stood up. So it did very well. And I've pinned it. And it's also become a part of every deck we ever do. Keynotes, I have the picture over and over again. How many times can you utilize those press? It should be 1,000 different ways.
Amazing. So we have 2 left here. Digital presence, which we've spoken about before, but maybe you could just give it a minute on that, whether it's the internet and social media, etc. That's one of the 7 Muscle Marketing, of course.
So like we said before, talking about how people's buying habits, they will look at 5 pieces of content before they decide to say that they're interested or raise their hand to talk to a sales rep. So what you have to do is you have to make sure that you have education online. So whether that's on your social media profiles, whether that's on your website, and then you have to have that next step, which is capturing their information. So on every social media platform you have, do you give them a next step where you actually collect their email, their cell phone number, some way to take that next step to engage them? Because likes and follows do not pay the bills, right? So we want to turn profile views into profits. And that takes making sure that you capture their information. Is the same with your website. Like we mentioned before, your website should also have a way to capture their information. So that's web presence in a very quick nutshell. Email, for every dollar you spend on email, you get $42 back. It is the highest ROI generating marketing vehicle that you could possibly do. And yet majority of business owners just leave it to the last thing that they think about. Oh, let's just send out an email. We don't hone our lists. We don't treat them like the valuable asset that they are. So there's many things that you can do with email lists. I mean, I would start with, once somebody comes into your world, what is the series of emails that they get as an indoctrination series? Something that teaches them about who you are, what you stand for. People need to hear that today. They need to know the why behind why you're doing what you're doing, because they're so lacking in trust of society. So if you have a good story, if you have a good mission, you should share that. It's the same with if you're trying to get more staff. Everyone has a problem with staffing today. You need to speak more about your mission, because post-COVID, people gained a conscience. They actually cared about what they're doing and they want to do something positive. So can you share that as part of your indoctrination series? As you're indoctrinating them too, Can you educate them on resetting of their buying criteria? This is more in chapter 4, but what are the things that they look for when purchasing something like yours? So you want to educate them so that you can preempt the competition, send the competition away so that you are the only logical conclusion. You should also be overcoming their objections. What are the typical objections that you get in the sales process? Can you put that up front in an automated email sequence so that every person that comes into your world gets this indoctrination series so that they become raving fans? What
an incredible show. Tonight's show, the new 7 musts of marketing. Made sure to get that in before the show closes out. Wow, we're out of time. Special thank you to Amanda Holmes. We were talking about the new release, The Ultimate Sales Machine. Turbocharge your business with relentless focus on 12 key strategies. It's available on Amazon, of course, and on bookstores nationwide.
Hey everybody, my name's Troy. I'm with Chet Holmes International. I'm the Executive Strategy Officer that works alongside Amanda Holmes. I really would love to invite you to jump on a call and talk to you about Amanda being a keynote speaker for you and your company. Just imagine the type of energy that Amanda brings to the table with the business acumen that is instilled in her DNA. I'd love to be able to talk to you about how we can bring that forward to you, your team, and your customer. Please go ahead and book a call right now. I look forward to talking to you and help your company grow to even higher levels of success.